Gentlemen, we are here for map number 1 of this first series of Group D. This is Vani Research Station, and for our TVP in the north position, we have our Protoss representative wearing the blue trunks, Outset Gaming's Synprime.
And in the bottom position, we have our red Terran player for Team 440, or trying to read that little thing, 440 Gaming. There we go. It is Seryph, our Master League Terran.
Yeah, Synprime is pushing Master League. Like every day in our team Skype, he's talking about how he's facing Masters on ladder. He's taking games off him pretty regularly. I think he can do this. He's not so much of an underdog that map win in this series will be like cause for celebration. I think if he loses this, it's going to be disappointing still, because he definitely can take this series. But Seryph is very solid. Every game I've ever seen him play, it's just a good game.
We'll see if Synprime can pull it off then, because that is the the real underdog story, and that's what people want to see. You want to see these people, especially in leagues like ASL, where you're getting players that a lot of people haven't really seen before, unless they're veterans of the ASL system. So it's nice to see the potential underdog story come true. We'll see though.
Yeah, and Synprime is actually letting this series weigh on him a lot. I think as far as like the confidence and mental state game, I think Seryph is a little bit in the lead simply because Synprime is new to this type of competition. He plays in tournaments regularly, but ASL is a little bit special in that you get casted and streamed every single time you play. There's a lot more money on the line than just about any other tournament you can play in outside of being a semi-professional or professional player. And it can really get to you. And I know Synprime is a player who it can get to him and really show. But then I've seen him just completely shine through and get through the nerves, including when he knocked me out of this tournament a few weeks ago. Totally shut me down. And that was unfortunate, but it happens.
Yes, it does.
Especially when me losing series is not an uncommon event, unfortunately.
That's not uncommon for anybody. So then, okay, you got knocked out by this player. So then, are you cheering for our Terran hero here?
I really like Seryph. Every time I've talked to him, he's pretty cheerful. He's a good guy, great mindset. He's one of those people in the StarCraft community that's just basically always cool to talk to, like even after he's lost a bunch of games. So I really like him, and I always enjoy watching Protoss die horrible deaths. So if Synprime loses, I won't be that upset for him, like from a race perspective, but because he's a teammate, and not only because I'm going to have to deal with his tears a little bit more firsthand than most people, I will be pretty sad. And I've talked to Brennan quite a lot about his prep for this. He's been working really hard for this series, so I really hope he does well. So I think my heart rooting for is Synprime, but my head is Seryph. We'll see, though.
We will see. Now, Saber was pointing out, I believe, that there is a probe on strike up top. So that probe just does not want to get back to work. It got hit by a Reaper, Didn't get compensation for that from Executor, so yeah. Probe's a little unhappy.
That one probe being lazy is kind of annoying, but if the Oracle that pops out of that proxy Stargate does as much of anything, that's definitely going to make up for that lost mining time.
Oh, for sure.
But now that Synprime has his 2 new Nexuses up and that Stargate finishing up right now, which he has a supply room and money and Chrono Boost available right on time to be able to chrono that Oracle right out, and we don't have a turret on the way. Engineering Bay is about to finish with Seryph. Really playing against this very well, starting that turret, so it's actually going to be up in time to push away that Oracle, if it doesn't die to that Widow Mine that he just burrowed there.
Yeah. Looks like all the bases are fairly covered for the Terran here. Widow Mine shouldn't do too much damage, but as long as it doesn't die, that's I'd say that's fine.
Yeah, and Synprime hasn't gotten anything done yet. Hasn't even activated his Oracle though, so he's still banking the energy, which is nice. But Seryph moving out with the medevac with 2 Widow Mines in it now. There's a lot less at home to defend Terran aggression than there is at home to defend Protoss aggression. So these Widow Mines could do quite a bit since there's only 2 Stalkers and a Mothership Core. Like, he's only got enough energy for 1 Photon Overcharge right now. He's got the detection with the Oracle, thankfully, so he's not going to be totally out of luck if those Widow Mines bury, but he needs to be careful, especially if he doesn't get any kills with the Oracle.
Very important that he at least scouted it, because if he was caught off guard by this and there were only those 2 Stalkers and the Mothership Core, that would have just been, could have been game ending. But now it looks like they both sort of just deflect each other's aggression and move into... Well, we'll see how this drop goes, though.
Yeah, so burrows, both Widow Mines and Mineral and the probes are not pulls, probably going to get about 6 kills here. 5 picked up there from the 2 Widow Mines, but the detection from the Oracle is going to come down. The Stalkers are going to pick those off. He's going to lose the Widow Mines for 5 probes. Decent pickup with the Protoss on 2 Nexuses here. He's pretty safe on those 2 bases, chronoing out his probes, so he's not in a terrible shape from that at all. Especially now that his tech is moving down the tree here. But Seryph getting that 3rd orbital started now. He's going to be really skyrocketing into the mid game, where if Synprime can hold on tight and maintain with those initial Colossi in order to get his 3rd base and storm up, he's in good position. But he's going to have to weather that storm, and Seryph is a player who can bring that storm like the best of them. He's very, very good at it. And the Oracle's still alive for Synprime, which is awesome. Keeping that active on the map to scout. They're the turret there, but he finds a weak point and actually picks up an SMV kills. That's really nice. Yeah,
I think that Oracle's gotten 3 kills now, so nice to keep it relevant in that mid game. Maybe get a few revelations off too, but he's gonna have to deal with this small Bioforce coming up too.
Yeah, the Colossus, it's got 35 seconds left under chrono. It's gonna be out in about 20 seconds. And Seryph, in theory, should not get anything done here. Synprime has what he needs to defend this on paper. We'll see, though. The nice thing for Synprime is that there's no Marauders with this force to stim in and snipe a Colossi. The Marines are going to have a much harder time doing that, as the Oracle pokes in and actually gets quite a few more SCVs as they try and transfer down to the 3rd position.
Up to 10 kills now. 2 of those Marines, but still, that's really great, making that Oracle useful.
Yeah, he's being annoying, slowing down his opponent just a little bit, and this makes weathering that Terran storm as a Protoss player just that much easier. And every inch you can gain in that battle is crucial. In TVP, as the Protoss player, the mid game can come down to the wire. But if you make it into the mid to late game, when you get your Storm and Colossus tech out strong and in force, you can start to feel really strong and even overpowered if you've survived that mid game well. And Seryph hasn't really gotten anything done past those initial Widomine hits, so he's just going to be looking for just a strong attack once he gets his army supply a little bit higher up.
For sure. And looks like we got Synprime moving out on the map. This seems almost a little over-eager, but I guess it's going to match up with the finishing of that +1 and the Thermal Lance. So could be a pretty strong timing. We'll see how it goes, though. There always is the option of recalling. Yeah, okay. Wait, where's the core? Is that at home?
Yeah, he's got that back on defense. So this is really risky, especially because he has no Zealots. And these Stalkers with just a couple of Force Fields and the Guardian Shield. So under that Guardian Shield, they basically have +3 armor right now. It's dangerous against this heavy Marine force. The 2 Colossi are doing a lot of damage. But this is a very risky attack here from Synprime. He cannot lose his force. He's got a couple Force Fields he wants to use those. Loses 1 Colossi. If that other Colossus goes down, this push is totally toast. Picking up some SCV kills is nice, but Seryph is going to be able to push through, finish off that 2nd Colossi. Now the rest of this Gateway force is just going to melt here. And I think the big issue there was the lack of Zealots. The timing with the upgrades was nice and very optimistic and could have gotten quite a bit done. But with the SCV pull and lack of Zealots to tank for the massive amount of damage that Bio does, that is a little too optimistic for me.
Yeah, a little overzealous and a little lacking in Zealots. So Could have been good, but just did not quite end up the way it was. Although the SCV kills are quite helpful.
Yeah,
So-
and all the lost mining time mitigates that third base advantage the Terran currently holds. But now his upgraded advantage is basically gone. He's got +1 armor against 1/1. So by basically gone, I mean completely and utterly gone. He has a few more force fields and he warped in some sentries, and there's not much bio here left for Seryph. He's got this reinforcement force. He might actually be able to pincer down on the Protoss here. This is going to be very dangerous and awfully messy for the blue Protoss here. Well, those bio on the left stimming and moving right across the Zealots. It's a recall. Excellent maneuvering there by Synprime to get out of that sticky situation.
But it's such a demoralizing situation to have to recall from your third base to your main. It's just like, oh, that does not feel good. This is scary.
And the biggest issue here for Synprime right now is his lack of third base and his ability to tech up any further. He lost those 2 initial Colossi. So like right now, if he had 4 Colossi with this, or 5, now that third one's popping out, this would be, he could just laugh in the face of this Terran army. But because that attack, he lost his entire army. He's in a lot weaker position here. Can't take a third, and now Seryph is going to be able to just choke him out for a little while, and then just put on the pressure to deal game-ending damage here shortly, as the Protoss' main is nearly mined out, and the naturals getting real low as well.
This Zealot harass was a nice idea. It's going to get something done, at least like distract the reinforcements a little bit, but just not enough to actually do any real harassment.
Yeah, now that Seryph has gotten his medevac count up to where he wants it to be, he's switching over to full Viking production and going 3 at a time with Vikings. Oh, Synprime moves it down his ramp. That is sketchy territory for the Protoss here. The Terran has got a full concave around that ramp, and Synprime pulls way back into his base. Definitely what he needs to be doing here. And he's getting a Dark Shrine and Templar Archives at the same time. It might be able to allow him to pull off some sort of miracle here, but the Terran, he's got turrets everywhere, so Dark Templar aren't going to be able to do too much. And if he commits too hard to those, he's not going to be able to afford Archons or Templar, let alone Storm Research, which is what he really needs right now. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. He needs to just buy enough time to get his crucial upgrades out and then take a good fight, but Seryph is so far ahead in supply that taking that good fight is going to be extremely difficult.
And he's trying to move down into this concave again, but it's just such a dangerous position. Loses the Oracle. Zealots are stuck behind the Stalkers. Colossus are getting taken out. I think this...
Yeah,
he's going to try and break it, but...
The Templar just moved down into the Terran army and literally did nothing. They just moved in and died. And now all the Colossi are going down to the Vikings and Marauders. This Terran force is trapped down outside of this ramp, but that is not that big a deal. It's 124 to 16 army supply, and that is the GG.
All right, welcome back to the game. We are here on Terraform. Hope you enjoyed Saber's fancy new map introductions. I know he's working hard on those. But anyway, up here in the top left side of the map, we have our yellow Terran player who's currently up 1 game. They're here for 440 gaming, and it is Seryph.
Seryph with that really strong game 1. I expect him to play just as well in game 2 here. His opponent in the bottom right, though, facing an uphill battle in this series. It is the blue Protoss representing Outset Gaming, Synprime. And our teammate Apocalypse watching in the chat. Hello, Apocalypse. It's good to see you. Coming out to support our teammate. That's cool. I wish I could more openly root for him, but I can't. I'm sorry.
Gotta be neutral.
Yeah, Synprime will understand. It's okay. The Seryph going for the same Reaper opening here, and Synprime opening up basically the same exact way so far. Protoss is a lot harder to read in the very, very, very early game. So we'll see what he brings. Probably just going to go for fast expand. I hope he tries to play a very similar style and just tries to tighten it up a little bit. Because I think that's just an excellent way to work on your mindset, is to keep doing something that's solid in theory, and until you're like bashing your head against a brick wall. Nice, gets down the Nexus, killing the SCV before the Reaper's able to come and deny it.
It was a really great denial, though, that, you know, the minerals got close to 600, I think, for a little bit, just because of how late it was being denied. And already 2 probe kills from the Reaper, too.
Yeah. Reaper, nice and useful there for Seryph. Gets the scout off, sees the timing of the second gas, which is the crucial indicator there. Lets you know if something totally crazy is happening, either in the super early gasless cheese or the slightly later tech rush double gas cheese. But so far, just completely normal second gas timing for Synprime. So it's hard to narrow down exactly what he's doing at this point. Seryph just going straight up his tech tree again. Factory likely going to see him go into another starport and open up with some form of Widow Mine, harass, or defense. We'll see. Yep, transports that factory over to the reactor and throws down the starport.
So probably going to see, I guess, another Widow Mine drop coming out of this. It was pretty successful in the first game, and it seems like this is maybe just the way, you know, the way Seryph likes... Oh, gets this around on that Reaper. That's nice. Anyway, just the way Seryph likes to play this matchup.
Yeah, unfortunately for Synprime, though, the Reaper did manage to see the Twilight Council as it died. So Seryph is going to be privy to the fact that there's going to be either Blink or DTs at this point are the most common. But Blink used to be so popular in the meta, but nowadays it's not so much, which is surprising because it's still really strong. We'll see. He's got the engineering bay done, throwing down the turrets at the standard timing. It's a little bit early for Dark Templar, but this would be exactly when you want it if there's going to be a proxy Stargate. And unfortunately, when you're playing against Protoss, scouting them doesn't necessarily mean like, hey, you don't have a Stargate, and then an Oracle flies into your base and kills all your workers, and that always feels crappy. So,
Protoss is just great for that.
Those turrets. The Widow Mines actually might be able to get quite a bit done since Synprime has no form of detection readily available. The Robo facility is on the way and about halfway done now. So he's not going to be permanently out of luck against these Widow Mines. But he's definitely going to slow down the blink timing. And going up to 5 barracks now. That's going to be crucial in getting that bio count up so that he can maintain against the blink stalkers, which can snowball very quickly. The observers started now, as the 4 Widow Mines are flying into the main.
That will not be out nearly in time, so these probes are going to have to evacuate. Got to get the pull. But they're clumped.
Oh, no.
Rough hit.
Yeah, that laying down the Widow Mines in that pattern was actually really well done by Seryph, so that he's actually chasing after the probes with them, trying to get them to clump, and Synprime wasn't active enough to split those probes all over the place, getting them into groups of 2 or 3 so that there's no giant massacres that make the top page of the Reddit when they all combust in a horrible, awful, graphic death. But see, that does hurt Synprime quite a bit, but he's not relying on this blink timing to do game-ending damage or even really crippling damage, even though if he was going to go for it, Seryph's stim is in an awfully exposed position. It'd be a really great time to try and snipe that, but Synprime just going to use the blink to defend and play into the mid-game here as the Widow Mines get dropped again in the main.
Oh god. Oh, the Widow Mines.
No, 15 probes.
Oh.
Rip indeed, sir. Rip indeed. That is rough times. That Widow Mine got 13 kills there. Jeez. That is rough. 9 and 13 on those Widow Mines. I think that might just be game here. It's going to be so hard for Synprime to get out of this hole. Fortunately, he's Protoss, so... and the Widow Mines didn't get detected, so they actually get off a few more shots and kill 2 more probes. More lost mining time. Synprime is down 31 to 47 workers. He's in trouble. So much trouble right now. I don't even know what his plan needs to be to get out of this, because Seryph is just going to keep walking away with this game at this point.
Well, he's got a Twilight Council, so he can just do the classic Protoss, throw down a Dark Shrine, and if that doesn't work, leave the game. I guess the other option is just try and make this Blink Colossus sort of timing work out, but from this point, you kind of have to all in, right? I mean, is there any way of drawing this out long enough that you can still win in the late game?
Yeah, this is such a tough place for Protoss, because it's kind of like if you're in a boxing match, you get knocked off on your back foot and you're reeling backwards, and then you try and throw the haymaker all in attack, but because you're falling backwards, your punch has no power and you just die. But at the same time, trying to defend and hold on to your 2 bases, even if you manage to do that, your opponent's going to get 3 quickly, and on this map, he could even take a gold base fairly easily with so much map control, and then you die a few minutes later just as horrifically. So it's really tough. I mean, at this point, Synprime basically has to play solidly enough so that if Seryph makes a blunder, he can crawl his way back into the game. That's his main source of hope here, in my opinion. But Seryph's about to deliver the first hammer blow here. We'll see how this turns out for him. He's posturing outside the Protoss base, but he is on no timer to attack here. He has the lead in every way, shape, and form. He does not need to kill the Protoss right now. He's in great shape to just maintain here.
And even just by existing outside of this, outside of the natural, he forces out the Nexus Cannon. He doesn't have to do anything here. That just burns some energy, puts himself into a better position for later, and it's just that the extra feeling of there's absolutely no way you can try and sneak a third unless you get a warp prism and go to the corner of the map.
Yeah, I would love to see Seryph just try and do some multi-prong drop harass here. If he can fly in 2 medevacs into the main to try and draw most of the Protoss army back, because Synprime has no forces to split here. I mean, 2 medevacs worth of forces is almost enough to fight this head on. Now that there's 3 Colossi, it's a little bit scarier, but the Marauders are in decent force with the Viking support. So this fight, the longer it goes on, Seryph taking a lot of free hits here, just running away unstimmed from the Protoss. But this is he needs 25 more of those engagements to be doing okay. Synprime does. Where's a godlike blink micro, which I haven't seen him blink. There's 2 stalkers that blink right there, so he's not blinking like he needs to. Both Colossi go down at the same time, bringing his total Colossus count to 0. But he does manage to clean up most of the bio on the ground, which is really nice. The stalkers are going to be able to chase down the medevacs and Vikings.
This is actually great.
Yeah, the Colossi managed to sweep up the forces on the ground right as they died. That was just an excellent pickup for Synprime. Problem is now he's only down a little bit of army supply instead of a whole lot of army supply, and now he has blink stalkers out on the map against bio with some great blinks. This could actually go his way, but he's still in so much trouble, and he needs to go take a third now. It's so risky, and there's no way he's gonna hold it. But he needs to go take it now and probably hide one in the top, the 12 o'clock position or something, to make it back into this game. He cannot do enough damage with this attack to actually slow the Terran down. The Terran's just going to keep doing what he's doing right now. You got to leave him be at that point.
Looks like he's going to try and go for the attack, though. He hasn't moved out to take the 3rd base. He's just setting up his forward pylon and not even producing any more Colossus. So this is just the I'm going to make blink stalkers and kill you move.
I'm afraid that against this many Marauders, the whole I'm gonna make blink stalkers until I can overwhelm your force idea is not that great, especially with 4 medevacs out. That's enough to basically out heal all these stalkers, because stalker DPS is so bad against the bio. If he can zone out the Vikings and shoot over the cliffs of Terraform with the Colossi, then you can take some nice free shots that way. But not microing in that way is Synprime. As we saw just now, Seryph scanning the likely 3rd positions for the Protoss. He sees there's no 3rd base, so he knows he could honestly just pull SCVs and go kill him. But blinks are okay. As the last Colossi goes down, this is going to lose steam quickly for Synprime. Those Marauders are standing strong in this fight against them. It is 1-1 to +1 attack for the Protoss here, so this is not going so well for Synprime. He's going to be able to blink away and reinforcing with some more Stalkers of his Warp Gates, but the medevac support with the Marauders, this is just dangerous territory for the Protoss.
He's just got nothing in production, like absolutely nothing. More Stalkers. Okay. Stalkers are on the menu and a Colossus, but I don't know. Like, if he did take that third when you were saying, you know, just take the risky third and try and maybe have some map presence so that it doesn't get scouted, but now it's just way too late.
Yeah, if he had just like hidden his third so that Seryph didn't scout it, that would have bought him a lot more time now, because that would be up and running by this point. But he hasn't even been making probes. He's going all in this position, but like he can't. And Seryph loses all of his Vikings, so this Colossi is going to be okay now that it has like 3 dozen health, but that's not much against a couple Marauder shots. As the Bio comes in and gets the Colossi at the last possible second as they bunch up against those Stalkers. And now the Stalkers have nowhere to blink to. Mothership Core is going to go down. That Nexus is valiantly trying to poke away at this Bio, and it's going to clean up quite a bit. And Synprime has picked up a lot of kills here in this last defense, this like 10-minute last stand he's making. But it's just not looking good for him at all.
Colossus left itself exposed, so it got sniped off really easily. And there still are no Vikings. So, I mean, that's good for Synprime.
Yeah, I think Seryph just needs to split up his forces just a tiny bit. The main reason that he's faltering right now is simply that he's bashing his head right into this choke point over and over and over and over. If he's dropping just one medevac on the outskirts of the Protoss base and making the Protoss fight just to split up his army just a little bit, he'd overrun it completely, because, I mean, Synprime has been hanging on by a thread this entire time. I mean, saying that his hopes were anything more than a wish for a miracle is being generous. Seryph finally moves into the natural, uncontested. He's going to snipe that Nexus before it gets off like 5 shots. That is rough. As the last Colossi comes out, it's going to get a couple shots off, but it's in range of the Marauders and it dies too quickly to do much of anything. There's the GG.
Yep, that will be the game.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to support the ASL by hitting the button now.